First off, thank you, Sam, so much for having me today. My name is Malachi Cabera. I'm a candidate running for Parks Tacoma Commissioner for position number 2. A Parks Commissioner is someone who oversees and helps manages the Parks District within the city. So it's over 3,000 acres, 80 parks, 4 community centers, and over 300 staff members. So the role of the commissioner is a governing body that implements the policy behind the district, as well as creates the strategic planning for where the district wants to go in the future. So really happy just to throw my name in the ring and be part of this process.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited for you to run. And I would love to know how you decided on this position specifically. And yeah, why did you decide to run in general and this specific position?
Yeah, I always say the Parks District has a personal and professional connection for me. So I'm the youngest person out of all the Parks Board candidates. I decided to run at 21. I wanted to run so young because the Parks District was a place where I thought I could make the most impact, specifically on youth programming. My partner and I, we found the parks to be a safe haven for us. A little bit about my background was I was actually kicked out of my home at 17 because of my sexuality. And so when Ty and I, we always grew up in Pierce County, but we decided to call Tacoma our official home because we kind of grew up on the suburbs of it, and fell in love with the parks because that was a safe place that we can go to where we can just be ourselves. And for the policy side, we're South End residents, and we walk South End every day. We live in South End. I work near my home. And we need more investment from the Parks District into South End, South Tacoma, and the East Side neighborhood, because you won't believe the impact you can have when you just offer a green space that is accessible to community. So if I get elected, I would love to see equitable investment within those neighborhoods, as well as amplify our youth programs and really offer a space for our youth to just feel safe, welcomed in our parks.
Absolutely. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. And
Yeah.
do you have any specific top priorities that you'd like to share and let everyone know about?
Yes, I know I briefly touched on one of them. My biggest one would be equitable investment. I don't think Tacoma can really thrive into the city that we need it to be until we actually invest into all of our neighborhoods that really needs it the most. So again, that would be our South End, South Tacoma, and East Side neighborhoods. They need investment, they need love, they need nurturing, and really they just need a parks district to show for them. And if elected commissioner, I would want to be that person to really be a sounding board to see that investment. Secondly, we need to start leveraging our partnerships. Right now, the Parks District is facing some really unprecedented times. I'm not sure if you're aware, Sam, but the Parks District announced a shortfall of $6 to $8 million. And I think this is a time where we really need to lean into our partners to ensure that we're still able to operate in the best of our ability. The Parks District, they fund after school care programs like Beyond the Bell, Club B, and Summer Teen Late Night. So seeing how Tacoma Public Schools can lean in more, and other stakeholders can lean in more, so we can make sure that we're still offering our services that benefits working class families and families in their day-to-day lives. But partnerships is definitely something that I'm looking at, as well as also expanding our nonprofit services. Like, can we lean in more to nonprofits like Tacoma Tree Foundation and Pierce Conservation District, because they have a template already of how they're investing in the community. So I think Parks Tacoma can really learn from those entities and help them also succeed while also staying mission aligned. And then thirdly, climate resilience and climate change. I think the Parks District should be having those conversations more because it's here. We're feeling the effects. It's crazy to me that it's still sunny and warm outside in October in Tacoma. This is the first time I've ever experienced something like that, and I've been out here since I was 7 years old. So it was a little shocking. But in that, I also found the benefit of trees. And part of my investment plan is to see an increase of trees in South and again East Side and South Tacoma, because Tacoma has one of the lowest tree canopies in the state of Washington. So I think the Parks District has a huge opportunity to not only participate in increasing our trees in Tacoma, but leading those efforts. So that's just one idea that I have in order to combat climate change and also make sure that we're connecting with the experts to see how the Parks District can combat climate change too.
Absolutely. And I know you're so passionate about community,
Yes.
and I'm curious, what are some of your plans to keep staying connected to community if you're elected?
You know, Sam, I really love this question because the parks commissioners, for a very long time, not calling nobody out specifically, just for the record, but just as an entity, as a governing body, has flew under the radar for community for a very long time. So when I'm out knocking on doors or even at candidate forums or just explaining to my family like what I'm running for, they're like, what? Like, what is that? Like, I didn't even know you could run to be a park commissioner. And what does that entail if you get elected? So, community outreach is well, I guess that's another big priority that's not really called out, but something that I would always embody and value if I get elected. So, I would love to do coffee with the commissioners. Let's make it quarterly. Let's make it monthly. Just something where I cannot say like, hey, if you want to learn more, show up at a board meeting at 6 p.m. on Monday evening, when you're probably attending to your family. And I always tell even current commissioners and elected officials that when a family is in, I would just say poverty or politics is not at the forefront of their mind, they're not worried about who their commissioners are. So as elected officials, we really need to work harder on meeting community where they're at. So if elected, I would love to do that outreach directly in those neighborhoods and communities, showing up to various Parks District events that the Parks Tacoma hosts. So I do think that commissioners should be out more and available and accessible to the public. So, if there's questions or they want to learn more or have an idea for the parks, they know who to go to and how to reach them properly.
I love that because I definitely have felt a disconnect sometimes with some of those who are elected into office or have been there a long time. Sometimes they start to lose that connection with the
Mhm.
community, especially over time. Thank you
Absolutely.
for sharing that. And of course, what do you feel is going to set you apart from some of the other candidates, or maybe even what we've already seen happening?
Mhm.
You touched on it a little bit, but is there anything else that you want to add to that?
Yeah. So again, at 21, I've been told to call it out. I've been told to not call it out because you may lose voters because they think you're too young and inexperienced to run. But I do think I should call it out because I'm the youngest candidate in my race once again. But I see this as not as something, not a deterrent, but an opportunity for me to really learn about the system and the process and also have a fresh perspective on how government works. My lens may be different from someone who has been, in office for, let's say, 30 years. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I do think for the Parks District, as versatile as it is, and with all the changes coming, and specifically with the youth programs that they fund, having someone who has a different perspective will be really beneficial right now. And I can say that across the board, from our city council to our state legislature, we really need to start offering spaces for, I'll just say, younger voices to be involved because, when it's all said and done, Sam, we're going to be the ones to help lead the change, across communities. So if I can learn as quickly, as early, and as fast as possible about how these systems works and communicate that across community, I think would be really beneficial while also applying a fresh lens and an unbiased one. I say my age a lot, but I should also mention right now I serve on 3 nonprofit boards and Tacoma Urban League, Communities in Schools Tacoma, and Vision 253. And my day job is to actually lead fundraising efforts and lead and manage partnerships. So as much as my age may be a deterrent to some folks, I also bring in a lot of experience in terms of how to manage a governing body and also how to bring in dollars when dollars are so critical right now. I'm just really excited to see what can come out of November. But I always tell folks too, like if you're really interested in a candidate or not interested in a candidate, to just do your research and then from there make an accurate decision of who you want to support.
I love supporting the younger generations for all of the reasons that you said. And I think sometimes when folks use age, it may also be because they're just afraid because
Mhm.
they might be looking at change that can
Right.
be scary to people and when they don't know what to expect. So I absolutely do not stray away. And I think that you all are so brilliant. So yeah,
Thank you.
that's not a problem on my end. I do want to ask, how can people learn more about your campaign, get involved in supporting you before
Yeah.
November?
Yeah. Yeah. It's coming up fast, but who's counting?
Yeah.
I would say check out my website, malachiforparks.com. That gives you a really thorough, detailed insights as like who I am, what I'm supporting, what are my priorities. And it also has my phone number and email. So if anybody wants to reach me directly, I always have, this on me, my phone for those who can't see it. Shoot me a call, text, email. I love to connect. I love it when people just like reach out and they say like, hey, I saw your number on your website or on a voter's guide, and I had a few questions. So it really is just a good pick me up. And if anybody's interested in getting involved in the campaign directly, I do have a contact sheet on my website again. So just put in there like, I want to knock on doors, I want to phone bank, I want to sign a wave, or I just want to say hello. Anything works for me. So I love that question because there's so much to do.
Yeah. For the personal questions, something you've learned during your campaign journey that you'd like to share.
Yeah, in my campaign journey, I learned a lot. Something that really stands out to me is I sometimes just am amazed just how willing people are to help and support. And this is a perfect example. You saw my partner Ty running, and then saw that I was running, and just like, hey, can I reach out? So I do think there was a lot of love that I found in this campaign. In a time where we see like a lot of negative headlines and crazy stuff, just on social media, I do think the campaign has kept me grounded by saying like there are still a few people that has a lot of love in community, that has a lot of hope in community and faith, and more importantly, inspiration. So that's something that I just found in my campaign journey that I feel like the campaign saved me because if I wasn't doing this, my head would probably spiral. And but I try to share that with folks, like there's still a lot of hope out there.
I love that. Thank you so much. Is there anything that we may have missed that you wanted to share before we go?
No, I just again so appreciative of you, Sam. Thank you for taking the time and for asking these questions. Again, if anybody wants to reach me, it's malachi for parks.com, and I look forward to seeing you all in community.